Michael was a boy of 12 years old who lived in a small town where life was simple but often hard. His house was a small, old building with chipped paint and a creaky wooden door. The roof sometimes leaked when it rained, but it was home. Michael lived there with his mother, who worked very hard every day to take care of him and keep their little home warm. Michael's school was just a short walk away, and every morning, he would wake up early to get ready. He didn't have many things. His clothes were often hand-me-downs, and his shoes had holes in them. But Michael never complained. He was a boy with a big heart and a strong spirit. One chilly autumn afternoon, Michael was walking home from school, carrying his old backpack that was nearly falling apart. The sun was beginning to set, and the cool wind made his cheeks red. The streets were quiet, except for a few cars and the soft footsteps of people heading home. As Michael walked, he noticed something unusual. Near the corner of the street, an old couple was struggling. The man, with silver hair and tired eyes, was carrying two heavy bags filled with groceries. The woman, small and frail-looking, was trying to help, but her hands shook from weakness. They moved slowly, and every few steps, the man would stop and catch his breath. Michael watched them for a moment. He knew what it was like to struggle. Sometimes, his mother had to carry heavy bags too, and Michael wished he could help more. Without thinking twice, he hurried toward them. "Excuse me, sir," Michael said politely, stopping beside the man. "Can I help you carry those bags?" The old man looked down at the boy, surprised. "Well, thank you, young man. That's very kind of you." Michael smiled and took one of the bags from the man's hand. It was heavy, but Michael didn't mind. He felt a strange happiness inside, like doing the right thing was giving him energy. The old woman smiled softly at Michael. "Thank you, dear. It's nice to see such kindness." They started walking slowly toward the old couple's house. Michael helped carry the bags, asking questions about their day and listening to their stories. The couple told him about their small garden and how they loved to grow vegetables to eat in the summer. When they arrived at their house, it was a small cottage with a white fence and a wooden bench on the porch. Michael looked at the house and thought about how different it was from his own. It was quiet, but filled with love. "Would you like to come in for a while?" Mrs. Anderson asked kindly. "We have some tea." Michael looked down at his feet, remembering the plate of food waiting for him at home. He didn't want to be rude, but he also didn't want to miss his dinner. I should go home," Michael said softly. "I have to eat." The old couple nodded understandingly. "We understand," said Mr. Anderson. "But if you ever want to visit, you're always welcome." Michael smiled and said goodbye. As he turned to leave, Mrs. Anderson called out, "Wait. Please take this." She handed Michael a small cloth bag. Inside was a sandwich and some fruit. "For when you get hungry," she said. Michael's eyes shone with gratitude. "Thank you," he said, clutching the bag tightly. That night, Michael reached home just as the sky grew dark. The small kitchen smelled of vegetables and rice. His mother was already at the table, placing a plate of food in front of him. But Michael wasn't hungry anymore. The kindness of the old couple filled his heart. He sat down and looked at the food but remembered the bag from Mrs. Anderson. Slowly, he took out the sandwich and fruit and smiled. "I think I'll share this with the Andersons tomorrow," he thought. He went to bed that night feeling something new hope. The next day at school, Michael couldn't stop thinking about the old couple. He wanted to see them again, to learn more about their stories. But when school ended and he walked home, the old couple's house was empty. The windows were dark, and the garden was silent. Michael felt a little sad. He wished he could help more, but he was just a boy. That evening, as Michael sat at the dinner table, his mother looked at him with concern. "Michael, is everything okay?" she asked gently. Michael nodded. "Yes, Mom. I just met some nice people today." His mother smiled, proud of her son's kindness. "Kindness is the greatest gift," she said softly. Days passed, and Michael kept helping others whenever he could. He helped a neighbor carry firewood, cleaned up the park, and even tutored a younger child who struggled with reading. His kindness became a light in the town. One day, as Michael walked home, he found a small envelope at his door. Inside was a note from the Andersons. It said, "Dear Michael, your kindness warmed our hearts. Please come visit us anytime. We have something special to share with you." Michael's heart raced with excitement. He knew that even small acts of kindness could bring great things. That evening, Michael dreamed of a future filled with hope, love, and the power of a simple meal shared with strangers. The next morning, Michael woke up with a feeling of excitement and curiosity. The note from the Andersons was still fresh in his mind as he got ready for school. He couldn't wait for the day to end so he could visit the old couple again and find out what special surprise they had for him. During school, Michael found it difficult to concentrate on his lessons. His thoughts kept drifting to the Andersons' kind words and the promise of something special waiting for him. Finally, the last bell rang, and Michael hurried home, his heart pounding with anticipation. When he reached the little white cottage, he found the front door slightly open. He knocked gently, and Mrs. Anderson appeared with a warm smile. "Come in, Michael," she said, inviting him inside. The house was cozy and filled with soft light from a small lamp on the wooden table. Mr. Anderson sat in his favorite chair, reading a thick, old book. "We wanted to give you something," Mrs. Anderson explained, reaching into a drawer and pulling out the worn book. "This book belonged to my grandfather. It's full of stories about kindness, courage, and hope. We thought you might like it." Michael took the book carefully, feeling the weight of its history in his hands. The cover was faded, but the pages were filled with beautiful stories that seemed to shine with wisdom. "Thank you so much," Michael said softly, touched by their generosity. "I will treasure it." Over the next few weeks, Michael visited the Andersons often. Every time he came, they shared stories from the book, and Michael shared his own dreams and fears. The old couple listened patiently and encouraged him to believe in himself. Michael began to see a new world, one where kindness could make a difference, and hope could change a life. At school, his teachers noticed a change too. Michael was no longer quiet and shy, he was more confident and eager to learn. He helped his classmates and smiled more often. His mother, too, saw the change. Though she worked long hours, she was proud of her son's growing spirit. But life still had its challenges. Some days were hard when the family's money was tight, and sometimes the electricity would go out at night. Michael worried about his mother and wanted to help more. One afternoon, after school, Michael found a stray dog near the park. The dog was thin and scared, with dirty fur and sad eyes. Michael slowly approached and gave the dog a piece of his sandwich. The dog wagged its tail and followed Michael home. His mother smiled when she saw the dog. "We can't keep him forever," she said, "but we can take care of him for now." Michael named the dog Buddy, and the two quickly became best friends. Buddy was more than just a pet, he was a reminder that kindness could be found everywhere, even in the smallest actions. As autumn turned to winter, the town prepared for the holiday season. Michael and his mother decorated their small home with paper snowflakes and a string of old lights. Though their decorations were simple, the house felt warm and full of love. Michael wanted to share this feeling with others, so he started a small project at school to collect food and clothes for families in need. His classmates joined in, and soon, the entire school was involved. The principal praised Michael's idea and helped organize a community event. One cold evening, just before Christmas, Michael received a letter from the Andersons. They invited him to a holiday dinner at their home. Michael was nervous but excited. When he arrived, the Andersons greeted him with hugs and warm smiles. Their house was decorated beautifully, with candles and a small Christmas tree. The dinner was simple but delicious. As they ate, Mr. Anderson told Michael about his own childhood and the struggles his family had faced. "Kindness saved us many times," he said quietly. "And now, it's your turn to carry that kindness forward." Michael listened carefully, feeling the weight of those words. After dinner, Mrs. Anderson handed Michael a small box wrapped in shiny paper. "This is for you," she said. Inside was a silver necklace with a small heart pendant. "To remind you that kindness comes from the heart," she explained. Michael touched the pendant gently, tears filling his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. "I will never forget." That night, Michael lay in bed, holding the necklace close. He thought about the journey he had begun. The simple choice to help an old couple had changed his life in ways he never imagined. He dreamed of a future where he could help many more people, where kindness was the light that guided him. But even as hope filled his heart, Michael knew the road ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, moments of doubt, and hard work. Still, he was ready to face them, because he understood something important: the smallest act of kindness could create the biggest change. And so, with a heart full of hope and courage, Michael stepped into the future, ready to make a difference, one kind act at a time. As the winter snow melted and spring began to paint the town with colors of new life, Michael found himself facing new challenges and dreams. His days were busy with school, helping his mother at home, and spending time with Buddy, the loyal dog who never left his side. Although the cold winter nights had passed, the struggles of daily life had not. His mother still worked long hours at the factory, and money was tight. Sometimes, the bills piled up, and the small house felt crowded with worry. But Michael never let these troubles stop him. Instead, he held on to the lessons the Andersons had taught him, that kindness and hope could make even the hardest days better. At school, Michael was becoming more confident. His teachers saw his eagerness to learn, and his classmates began to look up to him for his helpfulness and friendly nature. Michael helped organize clean-up days in the neighborhood, tutored younger children who had trouble reading, and always shared what little he had. One day, during a science project, Michael discovered that he had a real talent for understanding how things worked. He loved asking questions and finding answers, and his teacher encouraged him to dream big. "Michael," she said kindly, "you have a bright mind. Don't let anything stop you from learning more." Michael took those words deep into his heart. He dreamed of becoming an engineer, someone who could build machines and create new things to help people live better lives. But sometimes, the reality of his family's situation weighed heavily on him. He worried about paying for college or even having enough money to buy books and supplies. One afternoon, as Michael walked home from school, he noticed a small group of children playing near the park. They laughed and ran around freely, but one boy sat alone on a bench, looking sad. Michael recognized him. His name was Daniel, a boy from a nearby family that was struggling. Daniel's clothes were worn, and he seemed lonely. Michael walked over and sat beside him. "Do you want to play?" he asked gently. Daniel shook his head. "I don't have good shoes," he said quietly. Michael thought for a moment and then took off his own worn shoes, handing them to Daniel. "Here. These might be a little big, but they will keep your feet warm." Daniel smiled for the first time that day. "Thank you, Michael." From that day forward, the two boys became friends. Michael's small act of kindness changed Daniel's world, and together, they found strength in friendship. Michael's mother noticed the change too. She saw her son growing into a young man who cared deeply for others, even when life was hard. One evening, she sat with Michael after dinner. "You have a good heart, Michael," she said softly. "I'm proud of you." Michael smiled, but inside he felt a mix of hope and worry. He wanted to make his mother's life easier, but he didn't know how. Then, one spring morning, a letter arrived that changed everything. It was from a local foundation that supported students with talent and kindness. They had heard about Michael's story, his help to the Andersons, his work at school, and his caring heart. The letter said they wanted to offer him a scholarship to attend a special summer camp focused on science and leadership. Michael couldn't believe it. He showed the letter to his mother, who cried tears of joy. "This is your chance, Michael," she said. "You deserve it." The summer camp was held in a big city a few hours away. For the first time, Michael traveled far from home. At the camp, he met other children who shared his passion for learning and kindness. They worked on projects, explored science, and learned how to be leaders in their communities. Michael felt like he belonged. He was inspired and motivated to work even harder when he returned home. But the camp was more than just science and learning. It was about hope and believing in the future. Michael listened to stories of other children who had overcome difficulties and made their dreams come true. He realized he was not alone. With a new sense of confidence, Michael came back home ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. He continued helping his mother, supporting Daniel, and working hard in school. The days were still filled with worries about money and the future, but Michael's heart was full of courage. One afternoon, while walking Buddy in the park, Michael saw the Andersons sitting on a bench. Their smiles were as warm as ever. "Michael," Mr. Anderson said, "we are so proud of you." Mrs. Anderson handed him another small gift, a simple notebook with a message inside: "Write your story. Your kindness is the beginning of something wonderful." Michael opened the notebook and felt tears in his eyes. He knew that his journey was just beginning. No matter what happened, he would never forget the power of kindness, the love of his family, and the dreams he carried inside. And as he looked up at the brightening sky, Michael promised himself one thing: to keep giving, keep hoping, and keep believing that even the smallest heart could change the world. Spring turned into summer, and Michael's life continued to change in ways he never imagined. After returning from the summer camp, Michael felt a new energy inside him, a hope and excitement that made every day feel like a fresh beginning. He worked harder in school than ever before, eager to learn and grow. His teachers noticed his dedication and praised his progress. But even with this new spirit, life was not without difficulties. His mother still worked long hours, and sometimes Michael had to stay home alone to care for Buddy or help with chores. Yet, Michael never complained. Instead, he found strength in the kindness he had received and shared with others. One bright morning, a knock came at their small front door. Michael opened it to find a well-dressed man standing there with a gentle smile. The man introduced himself as Mr. Collins, a businessman from a nearby city. "Hello, Michael," he said warmly. "I have heard about your kindness, your hard work, and your dreams. The Andersons told me your story, and I wanted to meet you." Michael felt nervous but curious. Mr. Collins explained that he believed in helping young people like Michael who showed great potential and a good heart. He offered Michael an opportunity, a scholarship to attend a special school where he could learn engineering and science with the best teachers and tools. Michael's eyes filled with tears. This was the chance he had dreamed of, but he was also afraid. Leaving home, his mother, and his small town was scary. How would he manage such a big change? His mother held his hand tightly and said, "Michael, this is your chance to build the future you want. We will be okay. You must follow your heart." With her blessing and a brave smile, Michael accepted the offer. Soon, he was preparing to leave his small town and step into a new world filled with opportunity and challenges. The day Michael left, the Andersons came to say goodbye. Mrs. Anderson gave him a small package. "Open this when you need strength," she said softly. Michael promised to keep their kindness in his heart forever. The new school was bigger and busier than anything Michael had seen. There were students from many places, and the teachers were kind but serious. Michael worked hard every day, studying math, science, and technology. Sometimes, he struggled to keep up, but he remembered the stories from the Andersons' book and his own promise to never give up. Slowly, Michael began to shine. He made friends who shared his dreams, and he found teachers who believed in him. Outside the classroom, Michael started a small club to help other students who found school hard. He wanted to create a place where kindness and support could grow. The school became a new home, full of learning and friendship. But even far from home, Michael never forgot his family. He called his mother every week and sent money to help when he could. Buddy, now cared for by a kind neighbor, waited patiently for Michael's return. Meanwhile, the old town and the Andersons remained close in Michael's heart. One evening, after a long day of classes and projects, Michael opened a small package from Mrs. Anderson. Inside was a silver compass, shining bright. There was a note: "Let this guide you when you feel lost. Always follow kindness, and you will find your way." Michael held the compass tightly. It became his treasure, a symbol of his journey. Years passed, and Michael's hard work began to pay off. He won awards for his projects, gained respect from his teachers, and grew into a young man full of promise. Yet, he never lost sight of what mattered most: helping others and sharing kindness. On a cold winter night, after returning from a school competition, Michael received a call that would change his life again. Mr. Collins, the businessman who had given him the scholarship, invited Michael to meet in person. When Michael arrived at the city office, Mr. Collins greeted him warmly. "Michael," he said, "you have worked hard and shown great heart. I want to offer you an internship at my company. You will learn from the best and help build the future." Michael's heart raced with joy. This was the moment he had hoped for, an opportunity to turn his dreams into reality. With tears in his eyes, he thanked Mr. Collins and promised to do his best. The internship was challenging but rewarding. Michael worked on real projects, learned new skills, and gained confidence. He remembered the old couple, his mother, and all the people who had helped him along the way. Their kindness was the fuel that kept him going. As Michael's journey continued, he made a promise to himself and the world: to always use his knowledge and success to help others, to give back to his town, to support children who needed hope, and to show that even the smallest kindness could grow into something powerful. Michael's story was no longer just about a boy who shared his meal. It was about a young man who carried kindness like a light, shining bright even in the darkest times. And as he looked toward the future, Michael knew one thing for sure: his journey was only just beginning. Years passed, and Michael grew from a hopeful boy into a strong, kind-hearted young man. The journey had not been easy. He faced many obstacles, moments of doubt, and times when he felt alone, but his heart always guided him forward. After completing his internship with Mr. Collins' company, Michael was offered a full-time position where he could work on projects that helped communities, especially those like his own small town. Though his life had changed in many ways, Michael never forgot the simple kindness that started it all: the day he gave his meal to the Andersons and the way they welcomed him with love and hope. He worked hard every day, determined to build a future where no one would have to struggle alone. He often traveled back to his hometown, visiting his mother and friends, and making sure Buddy, his loyal dog, was well cared for. Michael's success became a beacon of hope in the community. He started programs for young students, helping them with school supplies, tutoring, and mentoring. His efforts inspired many others to believe in themselves and to share kindness, no matter how small. One spring afternoon, Michael was invited to speak at a community event. Standing on the stage, looking out at the crowd, he saw familiar faces: his mother, the Andersons, Daniel, and many children whose lives he had touched. With a calm voice, Michael shared his story: how a simple act of sharing a meal had changed everything, how kindness had been the key to hope and success. The audience listened, moved, and inspired. Michael reminded them all that everyone has the power to make a difference, no matter their age or situation. After the event, many came to thank Michael and share their own stories. Michael realized that his journey was not just his own, it was part of a larger story of community, love, and the strength found in kindness. At home that evening, Michael sat with his mother, looking at the silver compass Mrs. Anderson had given him years ago. "This has guided me all along," he said softly. His mother smiled, proud and full of love. "You were always meant for great things," she said. And Michael knew it was true, not because of his achievements, but because of the kindness he carried in his heart. The story of the boy who sacrificed his meal for an old couple had come full circle. Michael had learned that true success was not in wealth or fame, but in the love we give and receive. His life was a testament to the power of one small act of kindness, and he hoped it would inspire others to open their hearts, to share what they have, and to believe in the good that can grow from even the simplest gesture. As the sun set over the town, Michael looked forward to a future filled with hope, courage, and endless possibilities, knowing that no matter what came next, he would always carry kindness as his guide and share it with the world.